Welcome to Canada's Entrepreneur, where we talk to the entrepreneurs who are making it happen across Canada and deliver the news, trends, knowledge, and opinions from entrepreneurs and business influencers across the country.
Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Joining me on Calgary's podcast is Skye McLean, who is founder and CEO of Everwild Nordic Spa, as well as founder and CEO of Basecamp Resorts. Thanks for joining us, Skye.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right. And you're based in Canmore, right?
That's right.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about each of those entities, and let's start with the Everwild Nordic Spa. Tell me a little bit about that, what that is.
Yeah, of course. So, as the name would suggest, it's a Nordic spa. But to go back in time a little bit, we have a hotel in Canmore that's currently called Mountain House Hotel. And we were going to expand the hotel because the hotel itself came with an extra 2 acres of land. And I was standing on the land and thought, why are we building more hotel rooms? We should build a spa. And so that was the onset of the idea that since, we've hired professionals and architects and engineers, and we're actually opening November 20th, which is going to be Canmore's first Nordic spa. So we're really excited for the grand opening. It's well underway in terms of construction, design, procurement, all of those things.
Oh, okay. And what is Basecamp Resorts?
So Basecamp Resorts is the name of the hotel company. So back in 2017, I decided I wanted to build a hotel. So this whole thing started with me building a hotel called Basecamp Resorts that was basically a purpose-built Airbnb, so stacked townhomes. So there were multiple different unit types. They all had their own full kitchen, different sized bedrooms, bathrooms, basically a home away from home. The company then evolved and started acquiring different types of hotels, so motel conversions like Lamp House on Main Street, hotel conversions like Mountain House, and continued to grow. And now we're growing very on the hot, cold, rest, repeat. And that's the thermal cycle, which is kind of the basis of the Nordic spa. We're bringing that, but also different sauna rituals and different Nordic spa inspired experiences to our various locations, with the first one being Canmore.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So you're not from Canmore, right?
No, not originally. I'm from Toronto.
Oh, okay. So when did you come out west, and why?
So I graduated from undergrad in business and was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Calgary for a year, work for Cadbury, sell chocolates, do sort of that like first job out of school thing, move back to Toronto, climb the corporate ladder, do all that. Well, I never went back other than to do my MBA in real estate development, which I did because I knew I wanted to be in real estate development. Came
Oh,
back to Calgary in 2012, worked for a series of different real estate developers before starting my own real estate company in 2016.
mhm. But why out here though? Like of all the places, what attracted? What was the appeal of coming out in this area?
Well, for me personally, as a lifestyle, like I thought Calgary was the best thing ever because you could be in Calgary, you could have a corporate job, make lots of friends, do all the like city stuff, but be an hour from the mountains, from skiing, from mountain biking, from all the things I actually love to do from a lifestyle perspective. That's fundamentally how I actually ended up in Canmore in the end, but it started in Calgary.
Okay, and maybe talk about that journey to Canmore, and why did you end up there, and living there and doing business there?
Yeah, you bet. So when I was working for one of those multitude of developers after my MBA in real estate, I wanted to buy a condo in Canmore, which I did. And I commuted into Calgary 3 days a week and 2 days a week stayed with a friend. And that condo had this very specific zoning that allowed me to rent it out on Airbnb or live in it full time. So I did a hybrid of both. And that's how I got into hotels. I just had this random condo that I would put on Airbnb when I was either staying in Calgary or away from the weekends. for the weekend, sorry, and then was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually really lucrative, more lucrative than my real job. I'm gonna, build a hotel. And so, long story short, that's how this whole Basecamp Resorts Everwild Spa started.
What do you think the appeal is of Canmore and to people like I'm a big fan. I love going out there and spending time but you get people from all around the world. You walk down the main street and you see and you hear so many different languages. What's the appeal of Canmore?
Oh, well, it's just the best. The appeal, to be honest, it all started in Banff, I think. Like that was always the original place people would visit before Canmore, before I was even born. And people always heard about Banff, heard about the mountains, heard about the majestic beauty of the Rockies, the hiking, the skiing, all the things. And then that spilled over to Canmore. And then over the years, Canmore has evolved into its own gem that doesn't rely on Banff for tourism because it is in fact beautiful. There's amazing biking, there's amazing skiing really close by. The Nordic Center for cross country skiing is amazing. And if you're not into those sports and you just want to like hang out and observe the mountains, there's a ton of walking trails, cute shops, great restaurants, all the things for people who might not be, as adventurous, but still want to have a really nice time in the mountains. And that was another reason for this Nordic spa business was that people love to have really great experiences and really beautiful experiences in the mountains. And not everybody wants to, hike for 5 hours and then mountain bike for another 3 hours. Like that's not for everyone. So the Nordic Spa will have, that place in Canmore for people who want to relax, rejuvenate, look at the mountains, but maybe not like go crazy. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Do you think there's a different vibe among people who live in a place like Canmore or any mountain resort, whether it's Banff or Jasper or any place like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I would say that if you're like comparing it to Calgary or Toronto or something like that, it's definitely way different. People if you're going to live in one of these small towns, you're sacrificing certain elements of like affordable living because it doesn't exist in these small towns. Amenities, proximity to airport, like all these kinds of things that you get in a city because you really love the lifestyle. You're willing to pay, the Canmore premium. Right now I'm sitting in Revelstoke, the Revelstoke premium to have this lifestyle, which to your question really brings in a certain special type of person that's willing to do that because they want to be in the mountains, they want to live that lifestyle, they want their kids raised, close to the ski hill or whatever it may be. So I think it really does drive an outdoor driven person to these markets.
I feel that when you get there, like people are kind of chill, right? They're pretty relaxed and calm, and yeah, life just goes on at a normal pace. It's not like 100 miles an hour.
Well, a little bit, but I still think it's pretty fast paced because everyone's trying to go biking, trying to go skiing, trying to do this, trying to do that.
Uh,
So I think it's chill, but it's just different, right? Everyone's trying to do a million things, but maybe it's just a bit of different things.
yeah. Now, the being right at the doorstep of all this stuff in the outdoors, do you think that helps you as a business owner? Just having the breaks, I guess. So, like, just from a mental or kind of a mental point of view that you've got the outdoors to chill out and relax and not be at your job like every single second of the day.
Yeah, I think so. If I compare myself to, my colleagues in Toronto, for example, where they're in the concrete jungle and everyone's working, they're all downtown and it's total chaos. Being in the mountains, you can go for a run up the trail at lunchtime, go back to your desk and feel, to your point, like way better than you did before you started. So having the experiences that I love in the backyard and soon to have the spa to balance that all out is really great and does for me, promote a better lifestyle and work-life balance.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, I guess your attraction to real estate, and where'd that come from, and why real estate?
Yeah, well, for me, it was one of those things that was just made sense. Like, some people they understand physics, or some other people understand chemistry. Some people are really artistic and can sing and can play the piano and all this stuff. Like, to me, real estate was naturally what made sense in my brain. The analysis, the risk factor, like it's a high risk business. But on top of all that, when I was a kid, my parents always loved to look at different houses, and my mom really wanted to buy homes and renovate them and flip them. And my dad was an engineer, and she thought he'd be the perfect, partner in this endeavor. And then he never wanted to do it because he was so risk averse. So they always talked about this, and then they never did it. And so as a kid, I was like dragged all over the place to all these, potential projects, and then we never did them. And I was like, this is stupid. This would be a great project, or this would be a great project. And I was like 8 years old. So I think I was exposed to all the thought processes and then never did the execution as a kid. So had that sort of like ingrained in me and was like, okay, that's it. Like when I grow up, I'm going to execute on all these ideas that my parents never did.
Yeah.
And so that's probably where it came from. But I really wanted to do the education piece. So like the MBA in real estate development, because I felt that that would, be a good foundation for a career in real estate. And it was not just the education itself, but the people that I met, the jobs I got from that. It all sort of like came to fruition. It wasn't always mapped out, but it all worked out in the end.
And sorry, where did you do the MBA?
The MBA was in Toronto
What school?
at Schulich, which is the business school at York University.
Okay, and did you go to regular university there as well?
I did actually, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I specifically went back there because I would have liked to have a different experience and do an MBA somewhere else. But I specifically went there because they had this quite notable MBA in real estate development. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to go just like do an MBA. I wanted to do this specific MBA.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What was when you were starting out and starting off your own business? What was the biggest challenge for you?
Oh my gosh, there were like 100. I suppose the biggest challenge was raising money. Like for me, and still is, frankly, for me, I didn't have all this money to build the first hotel. We needed $8 million, 2 million in equity, and 6 million in debt. And I had like $5. So it was like, okay, I got to figure out how to get all this money together, phone people. I knew I had the idea, I knew I had the pro forma, and I knew I'd identified the piece of land. But I then had to find money for the deposit, find money to acquire the piece of land, which was 800 grand, find the remaining equity required to get a bank loan. And I couldn't get a bank loan because here I am, this random person, with no collateral and all that. So I had to go to a private lender and get money from a private lender. And so that was the hardest part, was really just pulling all the money together, because I was confident in the idea, the design, the stacked townhomes, the zoning, my ability in real estate development. And Tim, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, I knew he could build the thing. So I was like, Tim, let's build a hotel. And he's like, okay. But I had to go and find all the money. So that was the biggest challenge,
What's the biggest challenge today?
finding the money. It's a consistent thing. And instead of needing $8 million, we need like $800 million. So it's just you add zeros as you go along.
Yeah. Yeah. When you along your journey as an entrepreneur, did you have any kind of mentors or role models that you looked up to and helped you along the way?
Yeah, I had a few people along the way who I'd go to for, various snippets of advice, depending on what the topic was. But I didn't have, like a specific defined mentor the way some people do. No, I didn't have that.
Yeah. What about in terms of looking up to, say, people out there that are successful business people and entrepreneurs, in the world? Anybody come to note for you that you?
Now there really isn't anyone that like comes to mind, but back in the day, I would sit down and be like Barbara Corcoran, like the New York City woman who's on Shark Tank or whatever. And she went from nothing to where she is today. And her story is, quite interesting. And there's a few others like that. But yeah, she always came to mind just because she was, I guess semi-famous being on Shark Tank. And I always thought, oh, I'd like to meet her because I kind of did the same thing she did, but a bit different in development. But yeah.
And I'm just curious, any books that you read that helped you along the way?
Yes, I'm reading a book now called Diary of a CEO. It's really good.
Uh-huh.
I know a couple friends listen to the podcast, and I'm in the middle of the book. And there's another one that's very notable, and I'm like the title is escaping me. Um, if it was sitting over there, I'd go grab it, but I'll have to get back on that one. There's a few, yeah, but the Diary of a CEO is good. So I
Oh,
do like to read those types of books for sure.
what advice would you give a young person that they're come to you and say, "Hey, I have an idea. I want to be an entrepreneur." What would you tell them?
Well, if they really believe in the idea and they have some data, like when I started, I didn't have all the data, I didn't have all the experience, nor did I have all the knowledge, but I had enough. And so if that person has enough, just enough in their field, or the ability and the money to hire experts, depending on the field, that they just have to do it. You can really suffer from analysis paralysis. Um, and if you're a true entrepreneur, you do just do it. And if you can't do it because you're too risk averse and it's, you're losing sleep at night and it's just too painful, then go get a job. Get paid every 2 weeks, right? Like it's not for everybody. So I think a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs because it sounds so like magical, but then like their innate self are entrepreneurs. They can't sleep at night. They can't handle the risk. They can't handle the stress. They can't pay payroll on a credit card, which I've done. Like if you can't do that, then don't do it. Like, don't think you're a person that you're not, would be my advice. And if you really are that person, then just do it and it'll work out. So that's what I would say.
Outside of the spending time outdoors, what do you have any other interests and hobbies that you have?
Yeah, well, I have two kids. I have a 6-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. So I do a lot of like swimming lessons and soccer games and things like that. So I find like their activities have, of course, become my activities. So it's really cute.
Yeah. Now, do you think especially for entrepreneurs, as said, who are almost always on thinking about their company, how important is that to strike that balance in your life?
Oh, for me, it's really important. Like I have seen people and read books, frankly, about people who just work too much, and it's not good. It never ends well, right? It's like it's important to find that balance, and that balance is different for each person. So there's no right and wrong, but it's like for each person, they have to figure out what it is that they need to feel fulfilled. And if you have kids, obviously that's a huge part of it. If you don't have kids, is it outdoor activity? Is it some form of meditation? Is it travel? Is it, it's not being all consumed and thinking that if you take a week off, the whole business is going to crumble. Because if you're a good entrepreneur, the business shouldn't crumble if you go on holiday for a week.
No, that's true. But it's tough, though, isn't it, for entrepreneurs to get away from their business because it's their baby, right? And uh,
Oh,
that,
totally. Yeah. 100%. To your point, you never stop thinking about it. You never stop. Like
yeah,
even last night, it's like 11 o'clock at night and I was writing notes of things that I was thinking of that, oh, I got to do this in the morning, I got to do that in the morning, I got to think of this. Like, when people put those out of office things on their email, I always laugh like, oh, must be nice. Like direct your emails to someone else. I've never done that.
but you got to wonder, like, how many times those they keep checking them, though, right? They're checking the email, even though they have the out of office thing, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're checking them. My staff love them dearly, but I don't know if they're checking their emails when they're out of offices. And nor do I want them to.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
So, where do you see the business being in 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, we'll have a multitude of spas open, not just Canmore, because we're going to start building. We've started building actually in Fernie. We're starting in Calgary, hopefully start in Banff. We're looking at sites in Ontario. We definitely want to expand. So I think we'll have a bunch of different spas underway and hopefully still growing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Sky, for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, that was Sky McLean, who is CEO and founder of Everwild Nordic Spa and Basecamp Resorts. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.